Good evening, Reds. This is your host, Jarvis Cocker on MUFC Realist TV. It's been a while since we were live. I wasn't live last Monday. I was out traveling, but now we are back. We are back with a vengeance, and with me, I have Stu Woolley as usual as my co-host. I have Poppy, Botswana Poppy, and Tom, journalist one as usual. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Ten Hag, and I feel a little bit unfairly pressured by all the Ten Hag outers. They say he has no tactics, no style, nothing. And tonight we're going to break it down. So stay tuned and we will be back after the intro.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharply to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
Boom, 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 boom. As Mr. Pig always say, we are live and we are rocking because it's been 2 weeks since we had Jarvis's Corner on, but now the panel are ready. Stu Woolley is ready. Poppy is ready. Tom is ready. We are ready to cook. And we will talk about, what else is it to talk about? Ten Hag. And we will talk a little bit about what's to come. We have a couple of games going forward. We will do the usual devil's advocate. I have something cooked up for you guys, and we will do the Q&A session when we end. But first of all, I want to say hi to the brilliant panel, my co-host, Mr. Stu Woolley. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. Finally refreshed after a weekend away, which was quite nice. Went into Tom will know, a beautiful village called Cheddar, which is in Somerset. So we had a beautiful place down there, and we had a great time. So I feel, really refreshed. Which is
I saw the pictures.
good.
It's very like picturesque, or what do you call
Very
it?
idyllic. Yeah, hugely idyllic. We're very, very fortunate in the UK. Parts of the UK are absolutely beautiful. So anyway, big hello to good to see you again, Tom and Pappy, my old mate, and the good old to see the VAR room. There's a few new ones I saw today. Sanjay from the Netherlands. So I don't think we've seen Sanjay before. So welcome, Sanjay. Welcome to everybody to the show. Let's have a good one. I did miss the Liverpool humbling. I was away doing
Good for you, Stu. Good for you.
I missed it. So it's not. I have seen the highlights, and the less said about it, the better, I think. So, but all right, all is good. The mighty Tipton Town are back. 1 win and 1 defeat so far. So it's all good. It's all good in the hood.
1 win, 1 defeat. So 3 points after 2 games.
Yeah, I can live with that. I can live with that. I didn't play my best over the weekend. I was a bit sloppy on occasions when my passing in my positional play, actually, which is not good for me.
Isn't a cast?
Yes, exactly. It's not good for me, that, because I fucking bollock everyone for positional playing. Here he is. Made some errors. Made some errors. But hey, we live and learn. Even at my tender young age, I'm still learning the ropes. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Tom, we were on Noradin's channel yesterday. How are you doing? You're still Ten Hag out, or did I change your mind yesterday?
No, sorry. It takes a lot. It'll take a miracle to ever change my mind on something. But listen, we're all here to have an opinion. We're all here to debate and discuss. And it's the power of football that brings us all together. So yeah. Love to the community, love to you all as well, gents. And I hope everyone's had a good week. And we'll make up for the missed show last week. But yeah,
Mm.
been a good week.
It's good. It's good. But and last but not least, Mr. Botswana Papi, how you doing, my friend? You're always streaming on your own channel, Power Hour, but you haven't been on MUFC Realist TV for a couple of weeks. So how are you doing?
It's been a while. I'm good. I'm good. I'm enjoying this calm period. It's really like a good break. As you said, always streaming, always usually doing watch alongs and all that. And like
Mm.
so I've been really enjoying the time away from football, even though I'm starting to miss it now. I was feeling like, a week should be enough time for a break, but but I'm good. I'm obviously, there's also the change of seasons over here. We're entering autumn, fall,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
however you call it. It's sort of like a very good time to just sort of like, do all the little things that you wanted to do over the summer. So I'm really relishing the break for that. And like, went camping the other day, as you know, it's going to be a very big, like, busy, like, next couple of weeks up until the next
Yeah.
break.
Two
So
games a week.
two
For sure.
games a week.
Yeah.
Two
So,
games a week. Yeah, we
but
love it. It will be a lot of streaming, but this
yes.
is why we are here. We wanna bring you the best of Man United and discuss every topic that's available. So yeah, so guys, let's just we are a little bit of a hurry today. We will try to keep it to 90 minutes at football games. So we're just gonna keep the schedule. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. And first of all, we have seen lately a lot of critique on Ten Hag. A lot of people, a lot of fan channels, a lot of journalists are very critical to Ten Hag. They are saying that Ten Hag has no style of play. He has no tactics. He don't get the best out of the players. He's utilizing the players the wrong way. We are doing the wrong team selection. So basically, everything is wrong, and the only answer is Ten Hag out. Wooly, how do you feel about the latest journalist attack on our manager?
Well, I was watching Pappy this afternoon while I was busy on a Teams call, and I heard a couple of interesting opinions by some, I would call, decent knowledged football fans that Pappy had on. Not what you would expect to come on this particular channel. No offense, Pappy, but I think you know what I mean by that. And I put a comment on Pappy's. I got a chance to do a comment, and my comment was, somebody brought up style of play. I said to Pappy, I said, you know my style of play, what I think about that debate, and my it hasn't changed. Look, and I love everyone's opinion on style of play. I got a zero problem, with everybody's opinion. So mine will always be mine on this. And I love the fact that people talk about a style of play, guys, but I don't respect the opinion of a style of play, but only from a few. And present companies included. I respect your opinions on style of play because I'm working with people who know ball deep. Football in and out. And that's the knowledge I can respect. I listen to some of these pundits. I listen to these absolute morons on channels like ours that make an attempt to discuss a style of play, and I'm looking at them thinking, you haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about. Because football is as simple as it gets. If I received the ball from Pat Jennings back in the 50s and the 60s, as Tom will attest to, he rolled it out to me. Fuck me. Let me tell you now, that Pep Guardiola did not develop playing out from the back, using the goalkeeper to play out from the back. That was done in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. It was rolled out mainly, wasn't it, Tom? Goalkeepers don't do that anymore, and people don't see it. But it was rolled out to a fullback, was then popped into the centre half. So in my day, it had been Greenough into Buchan or McQueen out to Ulverston. Ulverston then might knock it up to Gordon Hill, that type of thing. So that's playing out from the back. Guardiola has developed zero, nothing flash, nothing new. The game hasn't changed. So a style of play to me is, hold on, I get the ball, I might run with it for 2 or 3 yards. I'm going to knock it into Pappy, and Pappy's going to maybe do a drop of the shoulder, bit of a Cruyff pirouette, and he's going to drop it off to Jarvis, and Jarvis is going to move it quickly to Tom. Tell me what style of play is that? Because all we've done is collect the football and pass it to each other to try and elevate ourselves up the pitch, and that's what football is. And like I say, I absolutely adore, proper people who understand the game and can absolutely articulately tell me their vision of a style of play. I've got no problem with it. But we played Saturday afternoon, and the ball came into me, and we changed it on 3 or 4 occasions. How we developed our attack, how we developed our defensive structures, how we tried to control the ball in the middle, and when that wasn't working, we tried to use the wings, and when that wasn't working, we'd run the fullbacks. So we tried 3 different, you could call it styles of play, but 3 different approaches is what I call it, to break down the opposition. And then the opposition, again, during that particular game, we only got beat 2-1. They had to change their approach 2 or 3 times. They were going long ball on occasions because they had 2 quick forwards. So, my style of play was to elbow him in the neck and see what happened. And, he dropped, and, I got away with it, and that's how it is. But that's what happens in the game. I talk about it all the while, you guys. And I do, Tom and Jarvis in particular. I talk about the evolution of football. And the evolution of football is when you cross that white line, whatever you decided and worked on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the team's then picked on the Thursday. So you do a bit of a drill against an opposition that play supposedly like the opposition you're playing. But once you cross that white line, it changes, because everything changes on that game. You've been taught minuscule things such as how they're going to kick off, who they're going to pass it to, where they're going to pass it to next. And if that changes from their perspective to your perspective, you've got to change your game immediately. You've got to think on your feet. And that's how I consider a style of play. It's all about thinking on your feet. It's all about being able to evolve during the game and grow during the game. And when you're absolutely under the cosh, make a decision on how you stop and quell that that pressure that you're getting, and then push back forward. And that's how I look at it. I like I say, I hear it all the time, and people talk about boxes here, triangles. I get all of that. I really do. But if you don't understand what you're talking about, you're just saying it for the sake of it, don't bother talking to me, because I know you don't understand it. You're copying from somebody else. When you talk about it, Jarvis, or Tom talks about it, or Pappy talks about it, I get it. I understand it. You're not utilizing somebody else's rhetoric. You're talking about it from your own lips and your own opinion. And football's about these and these. And it always will, on your brain, obviously, but it always will be. And that's how I like it. So when people are criticizing Ten Hag, I get it. I understand it. I do. There's a lot of impatience floating around Manchester United at the moment. Pappy did a brilliant segment on managers today. They were talking about Mourinho, but nobody articulated why Mourinho was at the top of the tree. Nobody could tell him exactly, root and branch, why he was there. I would have put Ranić a lot higher up, because I don't think he was there particularly to coach. I think he was there to sort out the backroom issues, and he did in many ways by the way that he came out. So you would give Ranić a different type of grading, not on his coaching ability, but what he's done ultimately for the football club. But I'm listening to these guys, and they can't articulate to Pappy why, and Pappy's grinning and he's laughing, and I could tell by his face he's thinking, I'm not getting what I want out of it. So anyway, I digress. That was my
your 2 cents, and you speak a lot of sense. You speak from a real footballer who have played the game for a lot of years. But I agree, playing out from the back wasn't invented by Guardiola. It was wasn't it Rinus Michels in the 70s who really developed the style, playing out from the back with the Netherlands team in 74. I was going
to say, Tom, you could go back to 74, couldn't you? Argentina 78, Brazil back in the 50s. And what was the Jarzinho years for Brazil? That was 70s, wasn't it, Tom?
I think
that was 70s. Yeah,
Jarzinho was 70s, the early 80s. The way that Zico and
Socrates.
Socrates played, Falcao, the way that they played. Back in the early 90s, Josimar, if you all remember Josimar, that big gangly right back for Brazil, he used to carry the ball. Then you got the swashbuckling, what's his name, the Barcelona, Dani Alves, that type of player, Roberto Carlos. You've had all of this for years. Some of the Benfica, when you look at Benfica, back in the 60s, they all played out from the back. Ajax, all play from the back. There's a debate on TV, on Talk Sport. I can't believe I'm saying it. There's a debate on Talk Sport, and they were talking about why does everybody want to play like Guardiola? And you've got seasoned professionals backing Guardiola over, something that's been going on for decades. Absolute decades. So.
But in a way, I know where you're coming from, but the game has evolved. Sports science today, nutrition, all the details. We have Dodgy Dave, as Tom likes to call him, comes in with this 1% improvement all the time, and this is what we have become. Because being on the top highest level. It's not for everyone. It's a reason why they make millions of pounds playing football, because the needle eye to go through is very, very, very difficult. So in a way, Poppy or Tom, I don't know who of you wants to go first and have a say. What's your take on the latest critique on Ten Hag? Is it fair, or do we need more time, or how do you see it? Maybe Poppy can go first.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, before I get into that, it was very interesting to hear just like Stu's sort of breakdown about, this is a conversation that has been going on in the fan base, especially a lot over the last ever since the horror movie versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. Right? So and we conflate a lot of things, all the what do I call them? Armchair managers, the keyboard directors of football, the Twitter, technical directors. Everybody has come out the house and sort of had that. This is what's going on. This is what I think style of play is, and sometimes we don't actually like make a proper distinction between what is principles of play, what is style of play, and when you actually
what's the tactic,
and these are all different ways of analyzing and talking about a game and talking about what you're seeing in the game, right? And even within a style of play, there's all these little things that what is the pattern? Is it like a direct type of football? Is it long passes? Is it crossing into the box? Is it what? Because obviously we can break it down to attack and defense. What are we doing? What's the rest defense? What is the attacking pattern? And all these things, obviously they make a direct correlation to what the team and the manager and the coaches are actually practicing over the week. Are they doing hexagon type of rondos? And why are they doing that? It's because maybe the coach wants to sort of make sure that the players are comfortable playing in a very, very, very tight space. There's at least 2 or 3 players that help to bail the team out, because that's what you want the team to do, because you're preparing for a game plan that is based on your style of play, that is directly correlated to your principles of play, and your principles don't change. Usually your principles remain the same. It's sort of like how
principle.
A principle is a principle, right? And whether you're trying to be a little bit more attacking or a little bit more defensive, depending on what the opponent or what moment in the game you are. Are you trying to protect the lead? Are you trying to come back from being 2 goals down? All those little things. When all of us, the fan base, come outside the house and talk about it, it's so funny to hear how everybody has sort of like their own understanding, and also sometimes a lot more than less conflate a lot of these things and into just one thing, that 316, or as somebody once said the other day, that like 316, like 316 is Stone Cold, so Ten Hag is now Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was such a funny conversation that I was like, oh my goodness, we as a fan base have gone too far. But in terms of like, obviously as consumers of football, you have the right to express your opinion, because your opinion is your opinion. And Ten Hag obviously has been a lot under scrutiny. Let's be real. Being a Manchester United coach is one of the highest degree of dugouts in the world. It's top three, right?
Yeah.
The only thing maybe Real Madrid is like, or but the scrutiny. Let's say in England, the scrutiny of a Manchester United coach, it doesn't matter if you're Ten Hag, if you're whoever, Ralph Rangnick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you're under scrutiny day in, day out, right? And the fan base and the media, especially the media, and I don't want to actually just like generalize and say these like culprits, Jarvis. I know you were saying they're saying this, using a blanket statement, but let's call them out. Mirror, Talk Sport, the what is it called? The Sun. All these guys have literally like come out and even like they're sort of going to levels of like reaching bizarre grounds for me, where Ten Hag had a testimonial game that apparently he actually won, and the first things that were coming out in the media was that, oh, Ten Hag lost a game during the international break. Like, then that was just like part of the anti-Ten Hag agenda, that like we know that there's a money-making $1 million industry, that like, anytime you're able to get clicks and generate some traffic and get people to talk about Ten Hag, especially in a negative light, you will get like some revenue, you'll get some traffic. And of course, Ten Hag hasn't been the perfect manager. Nobody is the perfect manager, to be honest. Even I think Sir Alex Ferguson said it in his book that if you're a manager and you get 7 out of 10 decisions right, you have done your job as a manager. That means, like Sir Alex Ferguson knows, in your managerial tenure, you will still get a few things wrong, and it's all about getting more things right than wrong, right? So to say like this horrible criticism is justified is really ridiculous. And I see a lot of like the big media houses just literally like speaking negative about Eric Ten Hag, that I feel sorry for the guy. I really feel like, wow, there's almost like, it feels like it's a witch hunt against Eric Ten Hag, and it needs to just be called out and say, guys, stop it. We haven't, we're in an international break. We're actually in a very, very special international break, because I don't know if you guys realize this. This is the one time where we're not hearing leaks. During international breaks, Pogba is talking to the French media, L'Equipe.
Raiola coming out.
Is talking to whatever.
Yeah.
The Brazilians are talking to the Brazil. Like, it was just like too much like negativity, too much like leaks, even especially when the schedule is not busy. So right now, whether credit is to INEOS or whoever, we're more of a like, we're not Leaks FC anymore. And what I want to sort of like hang on to and say, this is kind of encouraging. I know some media houses will keep spewing that nonsense, but and that criticism is not justified, in my opinion. Anyway.
Well said, Poppy. I think you speak well, and I agree with you speak a lot of sense in a way. So let's continue and go to Tom, because I don't know with this panel, but at least I know Tom is not a big fan of Ten Hag. But when it comes to his tactics, his style, do you see a tactic or a style, or do you think he's inept or he doesn't have anything, or how do you see it?
Well, the way that I've always seen it was, I saw what this guy wanted to do those first 2 games that he had when he was Manchester United manager, which was against Brighton and Brentford. But he abandoned it. He abandoned the way that he had been successful with his football tactics through his career, all the way from Go Ahead Eagles to Utrecht to then go to Ajax. He come and brought it to Manchester United for 2 games. And you know something? I actually bought in those 2 games. Yeah, we lost 4-0 to Brentford, fair enough. But you know something? I could actually see what he was trying to do when you saw Eriksen come for the ball. He come low. He come and drop deep and trying to collect the ball and turn and pivot. I know what he was trying to do. I could see that they wanted to play a certain way. But ever since then, have we ever seen a player drop really far to the goalkeeper in that Eriksen position, even if he's getting pressed by a player to come and collect the ball? No, you haven't, have you? And in the same case of The only reason why he abandoned those plans was because of the heat that he got, because he's at Manchester United. You can't lose 4-0 against Brentford playing that way, where you lose in the context of that he did. It wasn't about style of play back then. It was about, well, he's new, he's the new manager, you're not really seeing much straight away, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't getting backed and so forth with the Glazer family. But ever since then, he adopted this low block system where it was, we'll stay compact, there's no holes, there's no gaps. In that first season, we weren't getting ripped open in midfield. There wasn't that big 50-yard gap, 50-yard hole in midfield where you have 4 or 5 players running back to their own goal. That should never happen in any team. You should not have 3 attacking, players or midfielders running back to their own goal. You should have a defensive line of 4 from the beginning with, and as soon as the opposition have the ball and are coming towards you, you should have a line of 3, not 2, 3, and we don't have that 3. Liverpool, you saw at the weekend, what you saw closing weekend, they had Van Dijk, Konate, and they always had that one spare man, which for the whole game was Robertson, who was like a third centre-back for them, screening it all the way along. Robertson didn't really go forward in that game. It was Trent. And they had McAllister, who was like that holding number 4, the 4th player, who just sat in front of the 3 of them. If they got into a bit of bother or trouble, they've got the numbers there to cover it. That's the difference. With Manchester United, in that game in particular, guys, we had De Ligt and we had Martinez. That was it. And they had Diaz, Salah, who else played, guys? Jota played up front. They also had Gravenberg. So they had like 4 players. 4 players running at Szoboszlai's another one. 4 or 5 players running at 2 players. And we have 4 players who are running at the same end of the pitch with them. That's not good. In terms of tactics and his shape, that is terrible. And if he's going to succeed at Manchester United, you have to adapt now while you have the time to. You've got an international break. Sort the shape out, Erik ten Hag. Because if he doesn't sort it out, he will not win many games and he will get sacked. And as much as people might want to defend the way that he plays or say that he does have tactics, that's your opinion. But if he keeps playing this exact same model and way, teams are going to find it as easy to play through as they did last season. And the same point, guys, it doesn't matter what team comes up against you. If they are better than you on the day, they will get the result. That's a famous Premier League quote. And if you don't ever turn up on a day, regardless of who you play against, with a tactic, with a style of play, a shape, or just a bit of belief between 11 players, you won't win. It's as simple as that. There's teams in this league that I've seen that want it more than us. And they win games against us. They did it last season. There was teams that wanted it more than us. Forget tactics, forget style of play. They just wanted it more.
Yeah.
And that question was thrown was, does he even motivate these players anymore? Do they want to get up for it? These are supposedly his boys, his players. He knows them better than anybody.
I know, Tom, when it comes to Stu, for example, he's a firm believer that a grown-up man doesn't need motivation from a coach. It should come from within and
exactly.
be able
Well,
to
it should
play for the
come.
badge.
It should come from your internal instincts as a footballer. You have the passion to play football, but some players, they have that passion as a young kid. They sign all these brand deals. Then they think they're a commercial star. They think, that they're a social media influencer. That's what they think they are, more than a footballer. And the PR and the phone, everything takes off the field than what they do on the football pitch. And we know these players, guys. We don't need to hide behind it. We know them. We say, listen, I can easily name a couple. Neymar's another one. Would we not all say social media gets into a bit of limelight at Barcelona, thinks he's made it, thinks he's an ex-Ronaldinho? That's just the point. That's just one example that you can use. Rashford is not far off of that, would we say right now? He doesn't look like he's influencing football matches, doesn't look like he's interested, and always has this PR defence that comes out and defends him. But we're not naming and lambasting players, but these are just examples. And if you want a winning team, guys, name me one Liverpool player that played that weekend who is anything similar to what I've just described of Marcus Rashford. And that team's won titles together. You can't name me one. You can't name me not one. Even City. Look at City. Can you name me one there? No, you can't. You can't name me one. That and people will say, "Oh, well, Haaland because of his wages." I don't see Haaland creeping up on social media, out at nightclubs at 2 a.m. pissed it in Belfast or wherever. I don't see it. But
Jack
for me,
Grealish.
well, Jack Grealish. Well, if you want to use one,
well,
then there's one.
He did that at Villa, though.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
done
yeah.
that at Villa,
He
hasn't
pulled
he?
one out of the hat. But
He-
the one thing that I'm saying with these teams is, guys, they have won titles playing together as a team of like 15, 16 players. That's the bulk of a lot of those squads, 15, 16 players. But the difference is with Manchester United, we have quality players in this team that, forget tactics, guys, if it comes up man for man, we should compete with a lot of the teams in this league. We should. But the difference is with what I've just said, if he adapts the tactics now so that there's not a big gaping hole in midfield, and what I would say in this argument is this, right? Don't send both fullbacks forward. Pick out of Mazraoui and Delo and say who is better going forward. Is Mazraoui better? Okay. Mazraoui, you are going to fly high up the pitch. You're going to be like a winger for us. You're an extra attacking player. Delo, you're going to sit in and you're going to be a third centre back. And then when you bring Ugarte in, Ugarte, you're going to sit as a number 4. You're our 4th man in that back line. So if it goes shit up the top end of the field and we lose the ball, we've got the same numbers that's coming back against us. Because normally a lot of teams play with front threes. When you have 4 players there, 4 against 3, I like those odds, guys. 5 or 4 against 2, like we had in that Liverpool game, mincemeat. And that's against one of Liverpool are the most, I think, the best transitional attacking team potentially in the world.
Tom, I agree with what you're saying, but shouldn't the manager be able to bring out his ideas and try the things that they are trying to do? Because Ten Hag is obviously not trying to play with one of the fullbacks holding. He wants to bomb on with both of the
I
fullbacks.
understand that.
He wants to dominate the opposition team. He wants to put them under pressure.
You can do that,
and his game plan. I would say there's nothing wrong with this game plan. It's the execution that's wrong. We have conceded a lot of goals because of personal mistakes. We lose the ball in dangerous positions, and we're vulnerable because we overcommit men in the attack.
That's what I'm.
But the thing is, it comes down to, for me, it comes down a lot to the quality. You know, when you see Casemiro, for example, how he distributes the ball, it's not his strongest side. Maybe it's wrong from Ten Hag just expecting Casemiro doing that thing, but either way, what's his option? Should he not try to execute his plan because of Casemiro, or should he just continue because he wanted Amrabat to stay, for example? He wanted the DM.
Yeah.
And we didn't got Ugarte until now, and
yeah. Well, we can say all of this, Jarvis, and look, I agree with a lot of what you said. The one thing that I think all of us will agree on is, if he could pick any player, even out of all the players that he's signed up to this point, and say who's so integral, who's going to develop and change what I want to do with this team and the way it plays, we would all say Frankie de Jong, would we not? Because that player in that team that I said from those first 2 games, guys, when Eriksen dropped that far deep to come and collect the ball from De Gea, that is what Frankie de Jong does. And when he plays a lot of games that we've seen, especially when he was at Ajax, I think he was the best in the world at doing stuff like that. Collecting the ball, turn, drive 20, 30 yards, distribute to playing attacking pass forward. I think he was one of the best in the world at that. And that's why Barcelona paid a lot of money to go and get him. And a lot of clubs wanted him. The difference is now, I understand what you're saying, Jarvis, about that you want to play as the Amrabat. He had the chance to play Amrabat a lot last season. And I know he played quite a few games, absolutely. But the difference was he didn't play him where he's strongly at, which is as a number 6. A lot of those games. Because he even played him as a right back, a left back, an 8, a bit higher up the pitch. He even played him at centre-back once. He didn't really ever use him as a number 6 apart from that final. And he was brilliant in the final, in the FA Cup. And that's one of the most renowned games that we said about with Amrabat. But the problem that Ten Hag has right now, forget about personnel because he can't do anything now. He is stuck with this squad till January at the very earliest. So he has got to come up with something that stops us leaking goals, maximises our attacking output, but also gives us balance so we don't have a big hole through the middle of us. And what I've said, Jarvis, if he believes in this system that you can have two fullbacks bombing all the way up forward, right? There was a manager who come to this league. His name was Jurgen Klopp. He did the exact same system with shite players like Adam Johnson at right back. When he brought in players that he wanted, like he found Trent from the academy, and he brought in Robertson, those players could play the way that he wanted. The difference was when those players played it, one of them went forward on one side. They didn't both go at the same time. But if the ball then transitioned to the opposite side of the pitch, Robertson would be in the area to collect the ball and put a ball in. But he wasn't directly near where the corner flag is, as high up as Trent was. The reason being is he provided the balance that if they got transitioned on, they would still have 3 men at the back. So when you ever saw Liverpool get counter-attacked on because they played this high line, and Liverpool could always get out with that high line, the difference was they had Van Dijk, who was 6 foot, what is he, guys? 6'4", 6'5", runs like Usain Bolt when he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
His recovery pace bought them out of
But
jail.
not only his speed, his pace, but his reading of the game. I think that's his strongest
the same
attribute.
thing you could say for a player like Kyle Walker. City could play that high line because they had that one player who had that recovery pace who, if they got caught out on the transition, they had one player who could catch any player in European football that was going to run at them. We don't have that player, I don't believe. So in playing this system, he has to drop a player off, and then he has to get a player to sit in front. Ugarte can sit in front, that's fine, and be that fourth man player. But you cannot have 2 players bomb on because the quality in this league will rip you apart, Erik ten Hag. You can get away with doing that in the Eredivisie where the quality isn't as good. When you play teams like Brentford, who might have quality players, guys, but you know the one thing is, they have a clear identity of way of playing. As a club, and I'll say this last point, we have lost our philosophy as a football club for about a decade now. Fergie instilled a philosophy in this club for 2 decades. We have lost it as a club completely.
But how do we find it? How do we find it again?
How do we find it? Okay.
Push it through, and we have to trust the manager staying along for more than 2 seasons to get an identity.
It's not about the manager, Jarvis. Managers come and go every time at every club, because it's either you're the right fit for their club and the style that they want to play, or you're not. We, as a club, for 10 years, never picked a style of play. Proof is in the pudding with the managers that we appointed. Mourinho, Van Gaal, Ole, none of them had a similar style at all. None of them. They all had their own style. They was all different in their own ways. And Ten Hag is exactly the same. The way that I want INEOS to look at this is, and they've put themselves in this position now where, clearly the way that Ten Hag's playing right now is the way that they want to go down. Because if they want to go down this way, if they didn't want to go down this way, you would get rid of him in the summer and you will buy whatever manager you want out of European football. We are Manchester United. We want your manager. We will pay you X. You will give us Y. See you later. And we've got the manager that we want to play the style that we want. The thing that I want and that I think that INEOS have gone down is they have picked a style of play and they have said to Ten Hag, you will coach this way. And if you don't get results and you don't coach this way, you will not be our manager long term. We have a clear, defined way that we want to do things. There's a new recruitment strategy, guys, a policy of players that were signed.
Is it result-based or is it performance-based?
I think it's more performance-based, Jarvis, because results come after you get top performances. That's how a lot of people see football. If you play the best football, if you entertain people week in, week out, fans will buy into it long enough that if it means that you get results later down the line, like trophies or titles, it will be worth the wait. But you're having some enjoyment along the way. Right now, not a lot of fans are enjoying the way that we play. Majority of them, if you put a poll up and say, do you enjoy the way United play right now? They're going to say no. That's the high percentage of it. The difference with how this fan base, and I look at it, is we lost our philosophy identity when Fergie left us. The difference is a manager does not come in and change that way. He coaches that way that you want to play. He doesn't bring it to your club. He coaches it within your club. You need to pick a way to play as a club. Ajax, when you think of Ajax, you know the way that club plays. They hire managers who coach that way. Barcelona are the exact same. Madrid are the exact same. Manchester United should be that same if we want to be categorised as a top club amongst all those other clubs that I've just mentioned. So use your legacy, use your history, and use it in the market, guys. If it doesn't work with Ten Hag and he can't coach this way, you shouldn't have signed him on longer and given him an extra 12 months. You should have gone out there and got a manager that plays this way. And proof will be in the pudding, guys, if he doesn't cut it out and he doesn't make it. Because I will tell you for a fact, if he does not start an upturning results this season, because you can say, Ten Hag, that if you win a trophy, you might be safe. It depends on what trophy. If he does not get in this top 4, I don't think they're going to keep him. I actually don't. Because irrespective if he wins another FA Cup and he finishes 5th, if he finishes 5th in the context of it and he's playing this way this season, they won't keep him. If they have a clear way that they want to play, because they're too smart and intelligent for that, they will look at it and think, this ain't going the right way. And the thing that made the point, guys, Barada and Ashworth, before Sunday's game against Liverpool, put out their comments to The Athletic and said, we had no influence on Erik Ten Hag staying on at this football club. So the football structure did not decide this guy's future and assess it. It was Dave Brailsford, who is a performance guy, and it was Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's the co-owner, who makes the final decision. They are not football people. Dave Brailsford, I've said this before, is a cyclist guy. He is not a football man. Jim Ratcliffe is a businessman. He is not a football operator. 2 non-football executives, and I think you've heard this story before, guys, for about 10 years, making football decisions at your football club. The difference is now, if they get rid of him this season, the football structure has removed him. Barada, Ashworth, Wilcox, they have removed him because they don't think he's fit for the future. The difference is, if he doesn't get an upturn in results, guys, he is not going to see out this season. If he doesn't get proper performance week in, week out, because they look at this as an entertainment business. Football is entertainment. If they did a poll around Old Trafford, around all the fans, and say, are you entertained? Are you entertained about this? They're going to say no.
Yeah,
because
but
we're not winning games. There's big holes. We're not winning games. We're losing.
Because I thought if you asked everybody after the FA Cup final, that's 4 games ago, would you think people would say they are entertained or not? That's 4 games ago. 4 official games ago.
The FA Cup
final. So it's about winning trophies too, because we won our first trophy under Ten Hag, and that was 6 years we had to wait for a trophy.
That's fine, Jarvis. That's one
the debate is always about being entertained or winning trophies, and we all remember under Jose, when Jose came in, everybody accepted, okay, we just want to win something. Let's just win again. We don't care about the style of play.
That's that manager, though, Jarvis.
Yeah,
that's the style that you go for as a club.
But the fan base, you can never win with this fan base. This is what my point is, because
the difference is, right, if you go for winning track, right, let's say this, if your style as a club is that you just want to win no matter what, Mourinho, Carlo, Conte, they're your guys. If you want to play a high pressing hybrid football, Glasner, Ragnick, Klopp, Nagelsmann, Hansi Flick, there's your guys. If you want to play tiki-taka football, you're lad over in Girona, you've got Pep, you've got Arteta, you've got many managers. Maresca's another one that's coming through at the moment right now. That's your style. If that's the style you want to go with, go and appoint them kind of coaches. Ten Hag fits what we would call as transitional football managers and high pressing managers. So he goes with the likes of your Klopps, the likes of your Hansi Flicks, apparently, or supposedly. On parallel, guys, he is not as good as those managers. He doesn't have as good CVs. His track record isn't as great. He's not managed in big games or big leagues, apart from coming to Manchester United. This style, Jarvis, that he's playing right now, he would get away with it at Ajax because the quality in that league is terrible. The difference, there's probably like 2 or 3 teams in that
look
league
at Arne Klopp. You know that's that argument when you look at Arne Klopp. He comes from Arne. Comes in for Liverpool. Yeah, he comes in for Liverpool and do great. He comes from the Eredivisie.
One season, we've had games, and in that first season, Jarvis, I was on the same bandwagon as all you guys were. Where I thought we were going somewhere. He adapted. The decisions were good. Substitutions were okay. We won a trophy as well, guys, middle of the season. I thought we were on cloud 9. We won a trophy. The next week, we lost 7-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah,
The worst result in our
don't
club's
remind
history.
us. Don't remind
Don't
us.
remind us. No, but we have to be reminded
We
of
don't.
this.
We don't.
We
Trying
have to be
suppress
reminded
it.
of this. This
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
brought this to your club. And if he leaves out of this door, guys, this season or whenever, that's one of those things that's going to be highlighted about his tenure at this club. That's one thing that will be defined about him. It will be. Forget the FA Cup. Forget the Carabao Cup. It will be that you lost 7-0 to Liverpool. The difference of what I'm saying, guys, is pick a philosophy and a style as a club, and let's go forward with it. And if Ten Hag does not fit your style and philosophy, replace him with somebody that does. Otherwise, we're just going to waste our time, our money, and our passion as fans, waiting around for something that ain't coming. So all I'm saying to Manchester United fans is, I will give patience, but I'll give patience when I actually see progress made on the pitch. We've done everything. We're going to build a new stadium, football structure. Everything else has been perfect. But all roads have to lead back to the dugout when you're not getting results. And we aren't getting results right now.
Well,
so unless he has a massive upturn from now till November the 2nd,
could happen.
I think he'll be gone.
It could happen, Tom. I just want to go to Poppy and Stu because they haven't spoken in 5, 6, 7 minutes. Who want to reply to Tom's comments? Stu, can you go? Because I just want to add something when it comes to this is the fullback positioning now. You see, we play with 2 center backs. We have a deep lying DM. Fullbacks are in the midfield with the midfield 4, and we have 3 attackers. So we are more in a 3-4-3 formation as Ten Hag are trying to set up. When everybody is saying, yeah, let's play the 3-1-6. No, it's not the 3-1-6. It's more of a 2-1-4-3 formation. And I will almost call it a 3-4-3 formation with 2 high fullbacks. So this is what he's trying to do. But we are exposed because of the DM's lack of quality in passing, I would say, at the moment. Back to you.
Look, but look, Tom's points are accurate anyway in terms of the way that Klopp plays and the way that the 2 wing backs play. Our issues are, and I tend to agree, player for player, we're as good as anyone else in the in the division with our first 11 and maybe some of our squad players, but we can't adapt. Our 2 fullbacks can't adapt to the way that Ten Hag wants to play. Now, I don't know the reason for that. If I'm Dalot, I'm looking at, like I've said this before and I'll say it again, actually, right? You're an elite footballer at a club. You're having a change in manager, and before the season's out who's coming in. You will know the last 2 or 3 games of the season who's coming in the summer. Okay? So Eric Ten Hag's coming in. You know that's happening. Why the fuck aren't you going back through his history to find out the way that he wants to play? How do the fullbacks play? So if I'm Diego Dalot, I'm looking at how I should be playing, how he wants me to play. So when he walks through that door, I become completely indispensable to him. I am there, 100. I'm ready to go. So when he's talking about what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, I'm like going, yeah, I'm ready to go. I know where you need me to be at any given time during that game. The issue that we've got now is, and I said this right at the beginning of the season, Jarvis, and I maintain it, we're better off with a 3-5-2. That's our best formation for the play.
You said it. You said it.
I've said it.
You talked about the back 3.
Yeah, all in it. That's the best profile. And what you look at, if you put that picture back up,
yes,
that you've got, and you look at and Tom's right here, by the way, our fullbacks are almost parallel, and we've got a CDM. Look at how exposed we are to the turnover immediately because of the position at where we are. And if you've got a 3 at the back, and I'm talking a Yoro here, I'm talking a Delict, and I'm talking a Martinez, you've got a better structured 3, which means you can split and you can widen the pitch. You can basically marry up Liverpool's 3 in the centre that they've got, that only Casemiro, if that's Casemiro, which I'm assuming it is, has got to look and has got to make a decision on what he does. He's completely out of position anyway because he should have walked back and stood alongside Delict. And I don't know who played because, as I say, I didn't really see the game. alongside De Ligt and Martinez, I'm assuming, to make that covering. So it isn't always the quality of the players. What it is the ability to understand. And if you don't understand, because you can't be asked, you cannot be bothered to go and look at the history of your incoming manager and try and understand and learn the way that he's played in the past. And he's wanting to, as Tom was right, actually. His assessment was right when it comes to the first 2 games of the season when he first joined. Yes, we got beat 4-0, and you could argue the players just couldn't get it. But if you've got players that were interested in football still, and not interested in Gucci handbags and Gucci this and fucking Armani that and your next Rolls Royce or whatever, you got players who actually wanted to perform and play at the elite level, the highest level, you would have done your due diligence on the manager that was coming in. I would have done that.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. I'm not talking anything amazing. Wow, fucking hell, I've never thought about doing that, because most people have got a brain in their skulls. They just don't use it. And so if I'm Dallo, that's what I would be doing. If you look at the way Mazzari plays, he's got a small understanding of where we should be at any given time. That's Mazzari. Look at the way that De Ligt is kind of integrating himself into the team. He's kind of got an understanding of where Ten Hag would want him to be. And you'll see that partnership deliver. But when you run with a 3 at the back and you put a Yoro central, you put De Ligt right, you put a Martinez left, you've got a far more balanced 3. And if you do lose a fullback on either side, you've got a Martinez can step left, or you've got a De Ligt that can step right. And then you've still got Yoro, who can manage the yardage between De Ligt and himself and Martinez and himself. He's then talking to Agate and saying, right, I need you parallel in front of me, directly in front of me, so that you can go 10 yards left, 10 yards right when needs be. Or if we're in trouble, I'm going to bring you back 5 yards in front of me. Okay? That's how you do it. It's not, again, we're not talking anything amazing here. This isn't rocket science when it comes to football. Football is as, I hate to say this, and I know Tom and Pappy and you all agree with me. When you really drill down to it, it's as basic as adding 2 + 2. It really is. How the fuck you've got to go through 5 or 6 years to get a super license to manage in the Premier League is fucking beyond me, because 90% of football is common sense. I teach my kids all the time that, when we're coaching them, use your brain first. Forget your feet. Your brain's telling you, it's dictating to you where you should be, where you need to go, how fast you run, how slow you run, how you trap the ball. Can you do it 1 touch? Do you need 3 touches? Can you go right? Can you go left? What happens if I go right? Am I going to get hit? That's what your brain does. And then your feet just automatically do it. So you are talking and this is where I get Tom's frustration, actually. Yeah. This is where I look, Trev. This is where I get Tom's frustration, really, because the inability of our players to understand the basics is mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. And Liverpool, again, the bits that I did see, I don't think we're brilliant against us. It's just that we allowed them to be better than us. And that does happen in football. It does happen. You can go into a game and you're the form team. You can get beat by somebody who's bottom of the league because you're not switched on and you're not ready. And we can't afford not to be ready. So I agree with a lot of what Tom says. And to be fair to Tom, he's not really actually talking about the style of play. I think the frustration around is the communication between Ten Hag and the ability to understand the fucking basics of it. You don't have to go into a change room and say, oh, Rashford, just make sure your boots are on the right foot today. Because that's what you're fucking dealing with. You're dealing with moronicness of that nature, of that height. Oh, sorry, De Ligt, that's not your number, mate. You haven't got De Ligt on the shirt. You've got Martinez's shirt there. Just thought I'd that's what you're talking about. I need you to stand here. When they're he's found his horn. That's where I need to be. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you to do fucking the Rubik's Cube while you're doing it. I'm just telling you to stand there. And then I'm saying to you, bring Casemiro back in. You can see it happening in front of you. It's not as if you can't see what's happening in front of you. Look, you can't always stop it. We were proof of that on Saturday, although I was rubbish, but we were still proof of that. You can't stop it all the time, but you can adapt and you evolve and you try and change throughout the game. And I think that's where Tom's frustration is. And I get it. I really do. I get it. And like I say, when you listen to somebody, Pappy, yourself, Tom, who understand the game, you get it and you understand it a bit more. And you can have an opinion debate without arguments, because there's a respect in there, and that's the way I think Tom sees it. Tom will correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I think he sees it.
Well said, Stu.
Thank you very much. Oh, fucking hell, Pappy. I thought you'd have given me the fucking glasses then, dude. Come on. I thought I got the fucking glasses.
You broke
We
it
have
down
a
well.
super chat. We have a super chat. Before we go to Poppy and this Ten Hag discussion,
Oh,
we have a
super chat. I didn't see it.
Alien
Sorry.
10 I just
Hey.
want
Go.
to play this.
Super chat, super chat, super chat.
Super Chat.
And Poppy may have the honor reading out Alien Red Devil's comment.
Alien Red Devil says, Eric Ten Hag, let's do the time warp again. Just a two-step.
Big up, Peter. Big up, Peter. Big up. Thank you for the super chat. And Poppy, what's your thoughts?
Oh my goodness, lots of them, but I'll try and like distill them because we've been dwelling on this topic for a while, and I know Jarvis is trying to get the show moving. So lots of great points raised by everybody so far. Stu talked about players having tactical IQ, a footballing brain. Remember in 2017 when Mourinho was talking about Luke Shaw? I know Luke Shaw was not playing in the last game, but I'm using this example to give context about what I want to say, because Mourinho said that Luke Shaw was right in front of him and it was Mourinho making every decision for him. He was there as a body with Mourinho's brain. That's essentially what Mourinho said about Luke Shaw. Now, why would a manager say something like this about a player? Maybe I feel like there was the manager seeing that this player does not have at this moment the tactical acumen to know exactly where his positioning should be, to know exactly what to do with the ball when he receives it, because Mourinho was sort of looking and sort of analyzing from the dugout, from the sideline for him, you know. So when we go to, like, say, the picture that Jarvis showed earlier on, and we have our fullbacks bombing forward, like Tom was speaking about it, I think that Liverpool game, it should be a moment of, like, you know, remember at the beginning we're talking about principles and style of play being two different things. Like, you can still have the intention to want to overload the opposition defensive line, but you still have to know that the ball has to be progressed into their final third first before you can do that overloading, because that overloading is there for a reason. Ten Hag wants to sort of manipulate the opposition defensive line so that to create space in ways that he has prepared in his game plan, right? So now when you have players that are careless with the ball, we have Arsenal, we have Man City, those teams know how to take care of the ball. They know how to, like, really progress it, like, you know, with care, because it feels like we are so careless with it. And it's not rocket science to be able to say, oh, look, Liverpool got a goal just disallowed. That's a warning sign. I know the manager talked about, like, the instruction for me as a fullback to run forward as quickly as possible. How about I just look at Luke Shaw's positioning as Mazraoui, or Dallow's positioning as Mazraoui, or if I'm Dallow, how about I look at Mazraoui's action as well and sort of make sure that I'm not overly exposing the team. We had warning shots. We had literally, like, the moment to say, okay, even after conceding the first goal, you don't continue repeating the same things, because it's going to get harder and harder and harder. So the moment that game was we were 2 goals down, it was almost game over. The rest was just sort of, like, you know, working itself out. And then, you know, eventually they got the third goal. So I really feel like it's not just only about tactical IQ, but it's also about tactical curiosity. Stu, I believe, might have been the person who mentioned about players needing to sort of like do a little research on their own. You don't need to first wait for the manager to tell you what they want, because as Tom eloquently put it earlier on, the club has been in the soul searching period. Our managers has been haphazard. Our manager search has been sort of like scatterbrain, scattergun approach. You know, we had the Louis van Gaal, who was considered a side-to-side merchant because he prioritized possession football over everything. We had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who prioritized counter-attacking football over everything. We had Mourinho, who also had his own priority. So it's like our managerial appointments were not consistent and not based on a particular way of wanting a club to play. And that also consequentially led to the transfer policy also being scattergun approach, because you're buying players like Daniel James, who are solely for counter-attacking football, and then you buy another player that has different attributes and that skill set is more suited for a different type of football. So it's just been like one step forward, one step back, two steps that Alien Tato's talking about, two steps back, and that is the consequence that led to this situation that we're in now, where it's just like you just don't know what the club's identity is. Now, after INEOS has come into the picture, there's a little bit of an Omar Barada and the whole team. There's a little bit of like, this is where we want to go. This is our transfer policy. This is our transfer attitude. We're not going to be overpaying for players anymore. We're trying to reduce this Man United tax phenomena that's like we are always like subject to in a transfer window. And now we just need to see like that the last players that are sort of like part of the scattergun transfer policy just get weeded out, right? And I'm talking about the Luke Shaws. I'm talking about the Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is obviously like a homegrown talent, but like he's definitely like making us play a certain way that is not necessarily like in our best interest. So in the way that Ten Hag wants to play, because Ten Hag wants to box the opposition in their half. And now, if you do that with Marcus Rashford on the pitch, what space is he going to run into? He's only going to run into the opposition fullbacks and defenders and lose
100%.
So anyway, so now, like the word that you mentioned earlier on, Jarvis, that execution, the manager can have all the instructions in the world. They could be the right instructions, but if the players also don't execute the instructions properly and also have a little bit of a tactical brain, we're just going to be constantly become in trouble, and we're running nowhere fast, So anyway, so those are some of the things that I wanted to say about the stuff that we've talked about, and I really hope that the January transfer window, I know INEOS is smart enough to make use of that opportunity to try and also like help the team, because like we've ignored the January transfer window at different times. Of course, we've got I think Bruno was probably our last good acquisition in a January transfer window. So anyway, the last thing that I want to say is that anytime, even if you have a back three of like, say, whatever, Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, Licha, if you're going to be setting those three players, good quality defenders, up against four opposition forwards on a Premier League team, 8 out of 10 times they're just going to use that numerical advantage and really make those three defenders look shit. That's the honest truth. Like
it's not about getting 3 against 4. It's about slowing the play down and running the fuck home.
Yeah, we're happy about saying
slowing it down.
Happen. Yeah, you should have 5, 3 against 5, because ideally your CDM. Yeah, well, one of the wing backs, and Tom was right about the wing backs. Very astute to notice that. Sorry, Tom, I wasn't. That didn't come out right. I didn't mean it that way. But he's right. With one full back tucked in, and Agate or Casemiro ready to drop in to make a back 4 straight back 5, and then you, as Jarvis has alluded to, then that's when you stall their play, you stall the opposition, which enables Bruno, enables Maino, enables Dallo to get back in before you know it, you've got a wonderful situation. When we play against a low block, this is where we're docile. We play a very docile game of football. When we play a low block, we don't try and coax them out to us. We won't. We just pummel and pummel and pummel. So when you pummel them, they're just going to sit deep and say, "Give us your best shot." We're just a brick wall here. Give us your best shot. Unless you've got a player who's willing to take 2 or 3 players on to either win a free kick deep into their half or try and get a penalty, try and bring them out, try and coax them out. We play a very docile game of football there. But I will say one thing: VAR rumours. Listening to Tom and Pappy, you just heard a masterclass on football. And you should really take it in and listen to what these guys are telling you, because there is a depth of knowledge here that you won't get anywhere else, fellas. You really won't. And ladies are in there. So I think they both need a round of applause, Jarvis, please.
Yes, I will play the applause. Give me 2 seconds.
Thank you. Look, you're right. You talk about principles. Football is about principles. Tom notices things that people don't notice. Jarvis notices things that people don't notice. And it gets explained properly. It gets explained so that people can listen and understand. But when it comes to football, we're all learning. All of us learn every day. But honestly, guys, this is a channel. You want proper...
Stu, I just want to say, for me, this is what I would like. A good debate where we can actually talk about what's going on with the club and how we see it as fans, because at the end of the day, we are football fans. And my biggest problem with the Ten Hag out debate, the calling for his head all the time, I think it's a classic example of a one-dimensional solution for a multifaceted problem, and we talk about it and we go deep and dive into it and actually try to figure out what's wrong. And I don't have all the answers, neither do you used to, or Poppy or Tom, but together we can try to figure out what's actually going on with the club. So yeah, I like it. Let's just move on to the next segment, guys, because I just want to remind everybody we are doing the Q&A soon, so get your questions in for Stu, because he will lead the Q&A.
Yes.
But first, we will go to the new segment that we tried last show, the what we call it, the Devil's Advocate.
Oh Lord!
I know where this is
Advocate
going.
is the segment where I present a question, and one has to be for and one has to be against the question. So let's just delve into it. I just want to find the intro as Mick made, because that's brilliant. Yes, fantastic. So here's the first question, and I will give this to Stu, because I know this is down your alley. So basically, should Harry Maguire start over Lisandro Martinez against Southampton? And the guy who's talking for Martinez should be Poppy.
Wow, what a question. What a question. Well, Jarvis, congratulations. You've muted the Woolly. That never gets that's never happened in my years of being alive. Fucking hell. Right. Should Maguire... Very interesting question. Fucking hell, where do I start with this one? How long do you bastard?
I'm gonna mute.
Actually, I'm gonna
You're
go
on solo.
with... Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go with oh fuck, Jesus. Well, look, I'm going to go with no, and this is hard for me. This is really difficult for me. I'm going to go with no, and I'm going to make Pappy's job a lot easier here. I'm reflecting on the past couple of games. Old Leach has not really performed to the best ability of his ability. We all know that. I think he's been caught ball watching on 2 or 3 occasions. I think we all looked at it when he took out oh God, what's his name? Traore, that's him. Traore, yeah. At Fulham, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Leach is back, Leach is back, Leach is back." I think he's still struggling mentally with his injury. His positional play's not been the very best. If you look at the goal, the Brighton goal, the Welbeck goal, he was caught ball watching. For that, he was caught ball watching for Trent Alexander-Arnold when he popped his in, although it was offside, but he was caught ball watching. I don't think he's been at the races, but you can't really make an argument for him to start over Harry Maguire, for Maguire to start over him. If you give me De Ligt, I would have had a much easier time of it. But Maguire offers you at the moment that little bit of dominance that Leach has not given us. He's given us this aerial dominance, and he's given us his presence in at the centre half. And people don't like Maguire. I get it, and everyone will say not a fucking chance. There's no, but playing centre half, it's a real difficult position. Yes, I'm waffling, Pappy.
Yeah, look at you expressing your nose.
I'm waffling. I'm waffling. I know I'm waffling, but I'm going to waffle for a couple more seconds.
You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a limit for the devil's advocate. Make your argument.
Yeah, it's an extremely difficult position to execute correctly. It really is. Everybody looks at centre halves and all they do is fucking, get up, hoof the ball, or go for a header and foul somebody. No, it's not. It's a bit more difficult. So, no. Unfortunately, okay. I love you, Harry. 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 But no. That was that.
Sorry.
On all my time on YouTube, that has been the most made-up load of bollocks I've ever had to come out.
Puppy. Okay, give us just 15 seconds on why Leach just start over Harry Maguire.
Okay,
Shouldn't be that bad.
Stu nearly nearly raised an argument about whatever, Leach has made some mistakes this season, but so has Maguire.
I know. I know.
Yeah, and I was like, but the main thing is, let's be real. Leach, he's in Erik ten Hag's first season, we had a very, very good defensive record, and Leach was a big part of that defensive line. He brings an aggression that is very, very important in Erik ten Hag's style of play. He also brings in really, really good line-breaking passes that are extremely vital in the way Ten Hag wants to sort of overload the opposition with a lot of his players. So without Leach, you're missing a lot of those. I hear the point about aerial presence. Sure, that's one thing that Leach falls short. Stands short, in terms of I had to say it. Okay, but but you can tell that the reason why it's over the summer I had the privilege to watch Copa America, and I can tell you confidently that Argentina did not lose anytime Leach was in that defensive line. And most recently, Leach has actually been playing on a left back position for Argentina. So he's actually even much more fitter than Harry Maguire. He's much more sharp than Harry Maguire. And the only reason why it's been a little bit shaky on Leach's part at the beginning of this season is because he doesn't have the anchor man who he used to have, Rafael Varane. When you are now learning a new center back partnership, of course, the De Ligt, De Ligt's presence is good and everything, but they're still learning how to play together. And you're gonna see the best of Leach this season, as long as De Ligt is right there with him. And end of debate. Like, there's no way anybody can tell me that. Like,
There was no debate.
okay, all right.
I tried to make a debate, but
Okay, okay.
I didn't get anywhere with it. Quite frankly, I failed miserably.
Yeah.
So,
You know, when you come on Jarvis's corner, you have to be prepared for everything and anything.
Pappy,
So,
I think what you're trying to say is, Stu, you've been stiffed.
okay, so people in the chat, hit the 1 if Stu won the debate, or hit the 2 if Poppy won the debate. Get your votes in. Get your.
I might have won it for the comedy value, might not, Pappy.
Tom is just laughing. Can you give Tom a tough one, Jarvis? He was laughing at Stu the whole time.
Well, it's the first time. That's the first time Tom's ever seen me go blank.
I mean, it took you a whole 2 minutes to even think of anything to say.
I love Maguire. I love Maguire.
You got a clue what to say. It was, I've never been stuck.
Someone should clip this.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next, but it will be a short one. It's the next question, and I want Tom to be the pro and Stu to be against.
Oh, okay.
So this is the question. Here it goes. Should Luke Shaw be our left back for the next couple of seasons? Tom.
You fucker. I've realised what you've done here after what I said last time we did this.
I know.
3 words for Luke Shaw. I know, suppose now. So I've got to make the point for it 4, haven't I?
You have 2 minutes. You have to argue why Luke Shaw should be our left back for the next couple of seasons.
Okay. Out of 9 seasons at Manchester United, he's had a whopper of 2 amazing seasons, guys, at this football club. Can we have a round of applause? Come on. Round of applause.
Yes.
He signed 2 contracts at Manchester United. Round of applause. He's won trophies at Manchester United. Round of applause.
Worse than mine.
He always comes back to pre-season. Maybe not fit, maybe injured, but yeah, he's always there. He's always around the place, the building. You know, he brings vibes. You know, look at the cheeky smile on the face, bit of positivity, enthusiasm. He's an English player, of course. He's an England international. You always need plenty of them at Manchester United. And I don't know what else. He's made of timber. It's very good, fine material. You know, you can see by the images on the screen. He's got timber hip. He's broke his hand by the looks of it as well. He pulls a lot of hamstrings. You know, he's brilliant going up and down on the wings. You know, yeah, he's had a brilliant career for Manchester United for 9 years, and yeah, you know, he's still got a couple more to run. So you know, we might as well let him see it out and see where the wind blows us. But,
okay, that's time. That's 2 minutes. Thank you, Tom, for your great argument. And Stu will do the counter argument why we shouldn't keep Luke Shaw.
Well, first of all, the question's got to be, who is Luke Shaw? Could anyone tell me the last time he pulled on the red shirt of Manchester United? And we all saw a decent swashbuckling game of football. In his day, very, very good left back. Failed to flatter to deceive, failed to deliver. Had a very, very, very serious injury that probably should have ended his career. And actually, I hate to say it, Luke, did end your career. It ended your career at top flight football. You should be plying your trade at somewhere like West Ham or somebody like Ipswich or somebody like there. And then, you know, seeing out your career at a more leisurely pace that kind of would suit your burgeoning life. Should I say burgeoning? Yeah, your burgeoning lifestyle, which unfortunately doesn't fit Manchester United. Having said that, we don't have anybody at the moment really better that can step in. We don't have Malacia really fit at the moment. We haven't bought a left back in years. And I think that's been, again, Luke Shaw's downfall. Complacency is a big thing in football. You've heard me say it before. Once you're complacent, you never play to your top line. So ask me that question again, Jarvis, and I'll give you the answer you require.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say to Brendan, this is all for just fun and laughs. We're not hating on anybody. We
Oh
love
no, this
our
is fun.
players.
Yeah, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
just for fun.
relax. We're not trying to stir the pot. But then again, thank you for the contestants of the Devil's Advocate, and we will come back with more questions next week. And now we are coming to the end segment of the show, the Q&A with Mr. Stu Wally in the driving seat. I will give the wheel to Stu. And people, if you have questions, get your questions in, because now it's time for Q&A. Let me just find the jingle. I don't know where it is. Okay, here it is.
Oh dear, it's
Now, do you have to
embarrassing.
answer that question?
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And welcome to the Q&A section of Jarvis's Corner. I hope you've all enjoyed the show tonight. I think it's been an absolute perler. One of my favourite shows us four have put on together. So it's a short Q&A today because unfortunately I'm the troublemaker who's got to disappear in about 10 minutes. But if there are more questions coming in, we would love more questions. And then Jarvis, Pappy and Tom, I'm sure, will carry on and answer them for you. First question is for Jarvis, the host, not with the most, because he delayed the Q&A segment. Unbelievable. I can't believe he got it wrong. Now Pappy is much more smoother on his show. When it comes in, you need to get your cues right, Jarvis. But so we'll let you off.
Right. He hasn't done this in a while, so we'll
It's been 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit rusty.
His first touch is off.
We'll let you off. This one's from Jonathan Borg.
Big up, Jonathan.
Yes, Jarvis. Do you really think Wilcox tells Ten Hag, I love Ten Hag, nicely written there, to play transition football, win the ball high up the pitch? Bullshit. We can't even keep the ball. So what he's asking is, do you think that Wilcox is telling Ten Hag to play on the transition with the ball high when we can't win the ball?
Well, I think it's a dig at Ten Hag's style of football, what we have seen so far, and Wilcox, he's a youth coach from the Manchester City setup and Southampton. He's not a manager. If he was that good, he would be a Premier League manager. So I don't think he tells Ten Hag what to do, but I think he helps Ten Hag in what to do, and I think they are more brains in the coaching staff, and everybody has a voice. But I know where you're getting at. The transition football, high up the pitch, the high press. Ten Hag has always said he wants to dominate the opposition. There's no secrets around what he wants to do. For me, it's very clear. He wants to dominate the opposition. He wants to commit people high up the pitch. He wants high pressure, and he wants people to run a lot and press a lot. Is it the way forward? Will we win at the end with Ten Hag? I don't know the answer, but for me, I think it's worth a try. But I think he needs the right players in hand to make it happen. I think he needs more backing. I think he needs more time. In a way, I see last season as a season that actually put us back because of all the injuries. So it's hard to work. He didn't play with a lot of these players last season. Luke Shaw, speaking of him, Martinez was injured almost all season. Casemiro was injured half of the season. Højlund injured every third game. So a lot of these players that we need to get into this system running, they are not even playing, and our new players hasn't even got a chance. We have seen the Ligt 2 times. We have seen Masraoui a couple of times. We haven't seen Ugarte yet. So for me, I'm open to give it more time. I will give it the rest of the season, and I will assess when we're done with season 3.
Excellent answer, Jonathan. I hope that's delivered on your question. Well done, Jarvis. Brilliant answer. Pappy, got one for you here. Brendan, as always, comes up with some great questions. Brilliant in the comments, as all of you have been tonight, including Trev Wade, who's kind of laid off me a little bit tonight, which is good. Elite Baller has asked me a couple of questions, and someone's asked me, do I wear pink Speedos? All to be revealed. All to be revealed. If you anyway, Pappy, for you, if you do a job you're not prepped properly for, can it be expected that you excel? And should you be blamed if you fail? Great question, as always. I think you've kind of gone through this already, Pappy, but if you could kind of reiterate on what you were talking about, that'd be great.
I'll guess Brendan is obviously talking about Erik ten Hag and feeling like he's not prepared himself or prepared by the board. That's the part that's a question mark for me. But I feel like you may be talking about the fact that, say, for example, Ugarte is a player we signed, but we signed him 3 games too late, you know, and it feels like there is a little bit of like, you know, he's been backed, but maybe he could have been backed better. I'm just sort of trying to break down your question, Brendan. So feel free to let me know if I've misinterpreted it. But the second part of the question is can it be expected that you excel? I think absolutely. This is not we're Manchester United. We have standards at Man United. We have players that have been for them to wear red shirt, they have to have excelled at something. So they have to have some attributes. So it's your job as a manager to analyze in detail, not just on surface level analysis, detailed analysis of what your player attributes are. And it's your job as a manager to organize your team in a way that you are highlighting their strengths and minimizing their weaknesses. And that has to marry your philosophy, your coaching style and coaching philosophy, because you can have an idea of like, oh, there's this new formation I want to try now build up. It's a 2-1-7, 2 center backs, one defensive midfield, and everybody up there. What? You have to adjust that. If you don't have the Harry Potter players who can get the ball to the 7 players up the field, you need to adjust and say, oh, what if you bring some players back? What if you change? Also, like being a manager requires tactical imagination, tactical flexibility, in-game management, an in-game plan that obviously like you tweak based on the opponents that you're playing. So you have to be able to show that you're good at some of those things, actually all of those things at Manchester United. And the last part of your question is, and should you be blamed if you fail? Yes, even if it's not all the blame, you still have to assume some of the blame, because at the end of the day, you're getting paid the big bucks. You're getting paid over 20 million per year to make those decisions and to organize like all the things that a coach has to do, a head coach has to do. They fall to you. You're the one in charge of the ship. So if the ship sinks, we have to blame somebody. Somebody has to be on the chopping board, and that's my answer to that. So I really wish that Ten Hag had been given a lot of the tools in a little bit sooner, and especially the players like, say, for example, like the Xerxes. I guess he had the Euros, so really he had to take his break. But like Ugarte, there was no reason why Ugarte was in this period of limbo for so long, because we should have had Ugarte during the Liverpool game. Even if we lost, it would have been an important lesson for Ugarte and the players in that midfield to learn that, because you learn a lot from your losses more than your wins as a team.
Great answer, as always, Brendan. I hope that's answered your question. Got a belter for Tom. Scotty's at the wheel says, if Jose takes Casemiro and Anthony, do you think along the season we would miss the depth in our squad? Oh, it's a really good question. Interesting question. Yeah. Tom, what do you think?
I don't personally think that we would, to be honest with you, because there's having squad depth, but there's having the quality in squad depth. And I don't look at our bench particularly and feel like if you brought Casemiro off the bench, apart from showing up again maybe with 20 minutes to go, because Ugarte is here now, and that's the player that everybody will want to start ahead of him. What is Casemiro really going to bring to your game? The same, I could make the point for Anthony of if you bring Anthony off the bench, we know what we're getting, a one-dimensional player. He can only go left. He doesn't have a right foot. He can't put balls in the box. He doesn't take the ball to the byline. You know what you're getting is a one-trick pony, and he's not very good at that. So you know what you're getting. So as much as I understand what Scott's question is, I would say that I don't think we would miss the depth as much, because you can bring a player off the bench, but what's the point in bringing a player off the bench if they're going to do nothing to hinder or help you in the game? And if more case of it, guys, people would say that Casemiro has been a hindrance to this team. That's what people would say from the last 2 seasons. And Anthony, I don't even know if you can call it a hindrance. I just think he's gone hiding completely as a player from what he used to be when he was at Ajax. So, yes, I don't necessarily think we'd miss the depth in the squad, because I don't think the depth that we have right now is good quality. If we had more quality players on there, and let's say we sold them out to them, and listen, Casemiro was the player of 5 years ago and Anthony was the player that we bought of Ajax, okay, we could have a conversation about it, but I wouldn't personally miss both of them that much, and I don't think they would, even if you bring them into this team, guys, they're not going to revolutionise us. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely superb answer, Scotty. I hope that's answered your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll answer my questions I've got here. Then I'm going to have to hand you over to Jarvis. I've got a very early flight in a few hours' time
It's okay.
to Germany. So, and I need to get what little bit of beauty sleep.
Are you going to Nürburgring and driving, or
no? Unfortunately,
He's going to a beer hall. Just tell the truth, dude.
Oktoberfest?
I wish I had.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest, that's what it is.
It's not quite there yet, but no, unfortunately, I'm going for working reasons, so it's not ideal. But
Working on beer, yep.
Working on beer, yes, you're right. Big Trev says, important question: Harry Maguire or the family? Well, I love Harry, but you cannot beat the love of your family and the hugs that you get from your children, your wives, your girlfriends, your mum and your dad. You'll never ever beat that. And your friends, of course. So family always wins out there, Trev. Do you wear pink speedos when swimming? Yes. Funnily enough, I do possess 2 pairs of speedos. They're not pink, mind you, but they are. I do wear 2 pairs of speedos, and I do like to embarrass the lads, particularly when we're away on a lads' weekend on holiday. So I do own speedos. Yes.
Do you wear the Borat mankini, or
I haven't got the Borat mankini now. Have I got the physique for speedos? No, not at all. But yes. Yes, the old. I do have the Packers, and finally, Elite Baller. Very great. Am I the reincarnation of Beowulf? Now that is a very complicated poem at best. Beowulf is. I believe it's Scandinavian in heritage, isn't he? Isn't he a Scandinavian hero?
Beowulf?
Yeah, if I'm not
Kind of
mistaken.
Viking. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, but I believe there is some strand of DNA in this svelte body of mine, Elite Ball. I do believe that there is some. I've got his aggression, or its aggression. So yes. So thank you all for your questions. I hope you've had a great. You've enjoyed the show. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it tonight, lads. I'm sorry to leave you. But we will be back Monday, won't we? Next Monday?
We will.
Yeah,
we will. As always, 9 p.m. on Jarvis's Corner. But we're not done yet, even though Stu is leaving.
No, they're not done.
So thank you, Stu, for being here. It's been a great show, and we will see you next Monday.
So I need to nominate somebody before I go, though, to be the Q&A, and we're going to give Pappy the honour of being the host with the most.
Stu, Stuart,
Yeah.
before you leave, let me give you one bit of advice.
Yes,
Before you
please
go to
tell him,
Germany.
Tom. Tell him.
Yeah. Set your alarm clock. Make sure you set your alarm clock, Stu.
Yes, I will
Yeah.
do.
Otherwise, you'll
Oh,
miss
yeah.
your flight. That's one
Yeah.
good. That's one good tip that I always found out. Funny story of it a couple of years ago. I've told Jarvis the story before.
Wait.
You know, wait, Tommy,
Tom?
there.
Is it
So
gone?
yeah, that's pretty much the story.
Sorry. Yeah.
Fell asleep.
I've got the alarm clock set. I've got to be up at 2:30. So that's UK time. So I'm going to go and get some
I
sleep.
think I cut out anyway.
You
Safe
did.
travels.
you
Safe
cut out.
travels,
What I
my
said.
friend.
I-
Safe
I don't think you
travels.
heard what I said now. It doesn't matter anyway. Go ahead.
No worries. Hey,
See you
look,
later, Stuart. Safe
enjoy,
flight.
lads. I'll see you next Monday. Take care, boys.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Safe
All the
flight.
very
Okay,
best.
bye
See you
bye.
later.
Stu, you might get a text that says "Stay in Germany" because I don't know if you guys heard his answer about like fam. He's like, nothing beats the love that you get from hugging your wife, your girlfriends. He reminded me of there's a South African player that was giving a post-match interview saying, "I want to thank my wife and my girlfriend," and then he caught himself as he said that. So let's hope Stu does not get in trouble. Oh gosh. Oh. Anyway. Where were we? I think the question we had just answered the question about if the next question is from Scotty at the wheel about if Jose takes
Scotty.
Oh yeah, we've done that one.
Oh, we've
I
done
answered
that
that.
one. All right. The next question that will go straight to Jarvis is question:
Mhm.
which manager after Eric Ten Hag and why do you want him?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, I think it's about well, for me personally, out of the Premier League managers, I would actually choose Andoni Iraola. I like him, the Spanish manager of Bournemouth. I think he's great. I think he plays a very sensible play of football, mid block. He's not overexposing himself, but it's not too open. So it's very Man United-esque, I would say, in the way he plays. I think you could fit us well as a manager, and I like his personality, Spanish, of course. And we haven't tried the Spanish manager as far as I know, and I think they have something special when you see all the top teams in the Premier League. We have Spanish manager in Arsenal, in Aston Villa, obviously Manchester City. So they know a thing or two about football in that country. So for me, yeah, Andoni Iraola, I think he would be the guy. But who do I think the new setup will choose? I have a hunch for Zinedine Zidane.
Ooh. Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Ça va.
Yeah, he'll bring a different type of football for sure.
Yeah.
Very
Papi,
nice.
who would you pick? Who would you pick?
It's funny because I actually have shouted I want Zizou at Man United, but obviously the rumors that his wife does not like the weather and so forth. You know, I don't know if those rumors are true, but yeah, I like that. You know, football that's played on the ground. Well, pass, make space. I loved watching Zidane the way he was playing using Isco. Isco had this oh, that was just like such a, of course he had other really good players in the squad, like obviously Ronaldo's and so forth, but like there's just something about his tactical like detail that is so fascinating to me that I think the Man United players would need to really learn and educate themselves about football if they're coached by Zidane, So yeah. Anyway, what about you, Tom? Real quick. Do you have a name?
If I had to pull somebody maybe a bit left field, I've always liked Thomas Frank at Brentford, if I'm being honest with you. I like the style. He's a very astute manager. He's good with the media. He doesn't hype up as much around statistics or anything. It's just basic football. And that's what I want. I want somebody who's going to talk basic football. I want expansive tactics, which he provides. The same thing what we said before about transitions, guys. I think Brentford are a brilliant transitional team with Mbeumo, Visser, But the difference is, if he comes to Manchester United, he's got players like Rashford, who I think is Mbuemo on steroids when he's on form. And if you can complement these players in a system that I think the way that Thomas Frank plays would suit a lot of our players right now, the likes of how Xerxes plays, I think he'd love a player like that. Rashford, I think, is his kind of player. Same thing, even in midfield with how Norgard plays. I think it's very similar to Ugarte, maybe without the ball distribution. Martinez, I think he'd like players like that, aggressive, hyperactive centre-backs. So I think there's a lot of players in this squad that would suit the way he wants to play, and especially even the fullbacks, how he uses Rico Henry, particularly at left-back. I can see similar attributes with what he could do with Mazraoui just on the opposite side if he wanted to use him. So for me, if I had to put somebody left field, I'd say Thomas Frank, but that's if you wanted to maybe take a risk on somebody. But even in saying that, guys, I think the way that this new structure, if they did replace Ten Hag, I think they would go for somebody like that. I don't think they're going to just go for somebody off of, like Zidane's like a wow, he's a super name. He was a superstar player and he's done it as a manager. But I don't think they're going to go down that model. They've not done that with players, so I don't think they're going to do that with managers. I don't think it's going to be based upon what you've won. I think it's based upon how you are as a manager and as a coach, and if they believe in that you can maybe win something at their club, even if you haven't won something elsewhere. It's about what you bring to the table and the team.
True.
And you can have a lot of managers that can bring trophies, but if they don't bring a certain personality or a certain way that you want to play, you're not going to be very successful for long. And that's why we haven't had prolonged success with the managers that we have had.
Yeah. Interesting. That's really left field.
Thomas Frank, yeah.
I thought maybe you're gonna say McKenna, but anyway, let's the next question by Randy. I will take it, and then we'll when will the civil war end? Manchester United supporters versus Man United fans on Erik ten Hag. Randy, our fan base is so fickle that 7 to 10 games on the trot, if we win them, almost everybody will be unified around Erik ten Hag. It's actually, even 10 games is a lot. If we really just go 7 games, just like winning convincingly, a lot of people there'll be less divisions, not entirely gone, but there will be a lot less divisions. And it's just what happens in a moment of crisis. And this is unfortunately where we are right now. Next question by Mark for you, Tom. When is the fan base going to have patience and stop acting like Football Manager and FC25 are reasonable sources for examples?
When is the fan base going to
have patience and stop acting like Football Manager and just video games are sources for how to play?
Well, everybody wants instant success, but you can't have instant success and prolonged success. There's never been a manager that's gone straight into a football club and straight away has had it easy and everything's been perfect and they've won 5-6 trophies in a while. When Pep went to City, he had a boatload of cash guys. He could only get them top 4 in that first season. You can't, and Pep, we say he's the best manager in the world right now. Klopp, it took him 4 years, but he developed as a coach. And if you could argue, did Klopp really ever win anything by that Bundesliga title? He didn't really have much to his CV. So Liverpool took a risk on him there, and people could make an argument to say, well, was it a one-off season? Was it just that Bayern slipped the ball that season and Dortmund were just the next best team? That's what people would have said about Klopp. And they made him out to be a loser when he went to the finals with Liverpool in the Champions League a couple of times, Europa League final, FA Cup semi-finals, and people start thinking
and he lost the final with Borussia Dortmund too, so he was a serial loser. Well. Yeah, he lost all the final. He was a butler.
Yeah, that's what people said about him, but he had a bit of personality about him, and it was different. But the thing is, this fan base will have patience when we have somebody who's going to understand when things go wrong. You can't just stick to that plan and suddenly hope that it's going to go right. And I'm not using that just for Ten Hag. Ollie was the same. Mourinho was the same. They all stuck by the same principles and they never adapted. And the reason why they never adapted was the comings of why they got sacked. If they could have adapted and changed little tweaks or maybe built a new game model that was just going to be successful for a little bit of time until they can work on the master plan at the end of it all, then they should have done that. Ten Hag, if he is a man of integrity, and most Dutchmen and managers in football are, they stick to their one game plan. If he wanted to be like that, when you played Brighton and Brentford in your first season, you just stuck playing that way, regardless of what people think, the media, or results. And if it meant that you took a couple of hammerings, but you know what, you play brilliant football, nobody's going to be bothered. Because you know what, you've got a brilliant football, we can see something, we can see where you're going somewhere. The best way that you can get fans on side, yeah, you can say a trophy is a good way to get fans on side. A trophy lasts one game in terms of a memory. Seasons and progression over a season lasts months. That's how you get fans on side, with what you do week in, week out, not in one game.
True. Great response there, Tom. Shout out to Ronald, who's been a member for 3 months. Big up to you,
Big up.
guys. Memberships are a thing. Please, if you're feeling generous, donate a membership. We're streaming to Football Power Hour as well. If you're feeling generous over there, donate a membership too. Next question, by the way, from Wick for you, Jarvis.
Yes.
Jadon Sancho's beloved Dortmund could have bought him for 25 million, but they didn't even bid. I wonder why.
That's a good question. I
There's
don't want to spread hate on Jadon Sancho because, I think he struggles with a lot of things and he's not in. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I think he spreads a lot of toxicity in our club. He did so. I don't know what happened. He was out a long time. Someone said he had problems, mental problems. I don't know. But when he came back after a while, 3 months, I believe, everybody, all of Old Trafford, the crowd was cheering him, and he came on and he looked happy for a little while. But then he didn't get to start, and he started acting like a kid in a way. And I don't know why this happened. He left to Dortmund. After the fallout with Ten Hag, he came back, and suddenly everything was okay. But his Twitter picture was all about Dortmund. It was him kissing the badge and all of this. He played a couple of games this summer, and now he's in Chelsea. And if you go to Jadon Sancho's Twitter page, you see a guy smiling with a Chelsea shirt. This is Jadon Sancho's.
He's uploaded Chelsea in there now. Okay.
Now it's all about Chelsea.
Wow.
So for me, it's a dig against Man United. He don't like us at all, and I don't know why and what happened, but he's not a professional in my eyes. And
One word, Jarvis, to describe that question. You only need one word. Why Dortmund didn't do that deal? Wages. That's one word. Wages. Okay. If nobody, when you think about how Chelsea pay for players, guys, does it fit the way that they spread that money around? 7-year contracts. You can pay him maybe 200 grand a week over 7 years. It roughly works out at what he'd earn maybe 5 years. It just means he gets more money later down the line. That's it. But you've got a longer term contract at a club at that wage than what he has currently at Manchester United on the wage that he has right now. Yeah. So leave Man United, go to a different club, try something different. You're on a little bit less of money, but you've got it over a longer time. So you make a lot more money later down the line. Perfect deal.
Excellent response there, gentlemen. Another question from NC Smith. The question is, are any of you confident this team can beat 15 of the Premier League teams on any given game day? Tom, what do you say to that?
I'm struggling. So if we're categorising it outside, if we're looking at it on paper, we should.
Yes.
But if we're looking at it on morale and the way that we play with that open hole in midfield, I would have to say no, because there's teams in this league who don't have superstar players, but they have a system and a style of play which they can adapt in game, which means that they get a better result at the end of the game. And particularly with a lot of teams, when they play Manchester United, Man United have a brilliant first 30 minutes or first half, and then they come out in the second half and they're open. There's the wide spaces in midfield, and teams get at us. And that's because the manager's gone in at half-time, he's got the tactical screens up or the whiteboards, and he said, this is where you're going wrong, lads. You need to be here. The spaces are here, here, and here. You need to follow this player because he's in the wrong position by 5 yards. A tactical analyst who's sitting in the stands will look at the game from a wider view and a high view pitch and say, this is where you're going wrong. You need to move here, here, here. Spaces are in midfield. And suddenly, when you drag Casemiro out of position or you put him a bit higher up the field, there's a big hole behind him. No centre-back can fill into it because there's only two of them. Then there's spacing behind them, and suddenly you've got a pathway to goal. It's as simple as that. And Arne Slot described how Manchester United have played in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. But when you think of a lot of top managers right now, if you speak about any of them, Pep, Klopp, Zidane, even Zidane, like you guys were just discussing there, what you said about Isco, guys, we could talk about the way that he revolutionised that Madrid team. We'd be sitting here doing a monologue for about half an hour. With Ten Hag, it took 2 minutes, and that's disgraceful. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because we should.
Tom, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Poppy, but do you think it's lost in translation? Do you think his English is too bad? Do you think he can't get this message through? Is that the reason why?
Are you saying this off of the basis
because he obviously has a footballing mind.
Yeah.
So you think do you think so, Tom?
It's a language barrier, Tom. That's what Jarvis is asking.
I don't understand. I don't believe how it can be a language barrier when he's got a coach that sits next to him who, arguably, you could say, speaks a lot more fluent English than him and Ruud van Nistelrooy. And supposedly he had Michel van der Gaag, who spoke multiple languages, which was 5, who was his assistant coach for 2 seasons. And he still couldn't get a tune out of these players. So if he can't do it, and as we've seen in these training clips and videos, guys, Ten Hag is not a main coach. He doesn't do the drilling with these players in training sessions. From what I've seen, he stands next to Van Nistelrooy, he assesses where things are going wrong, and Rene Hack leads the training sessions. In Michel van der Gaag, when he was the assistant coach, Steve McLaren sat next to him in Ten Hag on the touchline, and it was Michel van der Gaag who ran the training sessions along with Eric Ramsey. When you can make an argument, when you see Chelsea's videos, Maresca fucks his assistants off. I'm the coach. I'm the boss. I tell you where you're going wrong. De Zerbi did the same thing at Brighton, guys. We've heard the stories before. Stops players if they're a yard out of line of where they should be. Beat, we're starting again. Transition back up, we program again. Arteta's the same. They're all wired the same. We do not have a manager who is... I don't want to describe him as he's not a leader, but I think Ten Hag assesses games with his eyes, then he actually looks at improving games with his communication. And I think he looks at that as probably a weakness, that he can't communicate what he wants properly, so he gets other people to do it for him. And I don't necessarily think that it's evolving with the players when they look at him and think, well, you're our manager, but we're being told instructions or we're being shown instructions, which is from your brain and from your ideas and mindset, but it's coming through somebody else. That's how I think the players are reacting to it.
It's interesting you say that because, for me, I'm not gonna go to the level of like say what Mark is saying that like, oh, I know it's the players not getting it. What Ten Hag is saying is right, because it's really like speculation grounds that you're entering there. Like I feel like with Ten Hag sometimes you just never know exactly. Like say for example, why is Ugarte not ready? But then for Marcelo Bielsa, he can play 79 minutes. Like they say Ten Hag is a laptop coach, then maybe Marcelo Bielsa is using a better laptop than Ten Hag. Maybe Ten Hag is using a Toshiba, and Marcelo Bielsa is using a Nexus.
Commodore 64.
You know what I mean? Like, how? Honestly, that thing baffles me. Like, why didn't we even see him just for like 20 minutes? Anyway, let's not dwell too much on that. Let's keep it going. Tom disappeared. So
Tom disappeared.
Tom disappeared at the right time, because the next question is for you, Jarvis. How long do you spend practicing your serious face for streams?
What are you talking about? My serious face. Forget about it. Forget about it. I don't have a serious face. I'm not. But I try to pay attention. I really try to pay attention.
So your resting face is serious by default. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the restoration.
That's right. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you.
All right. Question from Stephanie that I'll take, I guess. Question: we criticize media for mischief making. Do United? Okay, we criticize the media for mischief making. Do you not YouTube channels, United fan channels over analyze and overhype our club? I think we do over analyze. We do, especially when
we're deep down the rabbit hole. We're like taking it in everything.
Of course, and that is also a consequence of not having a lot of games to play right now. So we're like we've dissected that Liverpool game to bits, and I don't know if it's really healthy or not. But in terms of overhyping, I think that's part of fandom. You have to also believe in your own hype. You have to just believe in your team, believe in your club, right? And that is part and parcel of it. Anyway, another question that I will take from Machikish says, can we ask Boss why his walls are orange?
That's a good question. I've been thinking that myself. Why is your walls orange?
Well, orange is a bright color. I like to walk in a room and have like a uplifting sort of like, that's sort of just like my default energy that I like to have. And obviously if it sometimes comes from like making sure that different rooms in this house have different colors, and most of the colors are all uplifting colors, and that's what it is. If it was just dark, I don't know if I'd be.
Are you supporting the orange man? No, don't answer. Don't answer. I'm just kidding you. Just kidding.
Don't make me send you in your own corner. This is your show. All right. Question for you. From Stephanie. What's your golf handicap now, buddy?
Oh, thank you, Stephanie, for thinking of my golf. I actually did one round of golf today with my son Philip. He was just going around the pitch and picking up golf balls because they're all over the place. And I walked around, and I think now it's about 33, I would say. So it's getting better and better.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, I gotta go to the golf range before it gets cold over here. Anyway. Question again from Stephanie. If United were forced to have a player manager, who would be the best equipped for that role?
Ooh, that's a good question. Player manager.
Right now, Johnny Evans is who I'm thinking of. But if we're thinking about any player that we had, I really wanted Ander Herrera to be a manager. Ander Herrera, like if you've heard him talk, in a post-match interview, you can just tell this boy, like his tactical nuance that he has, But from the current players at Man United, I'll go Johnny Evans. What about you, Jarvis?
Well, who is the most football intelligent player in our squad? I would say someone like, for example, I think Christian Eriksen could be a great manager. I think he has tactical knowledge. Do we have the personality? I don't know, but I think he has something with him. I think he understands the game at the deep level, and I think you need that to be a manager. It's not all about being like the captain or the leader or the guy who shouts the most. It's about understanding the game for me to be a good manager. So
Okay.
maybe Christian Eriksen.
Interesting. Yeah. I never thought like his personality. Like, anyway, I don't want to dwell.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Ronald's question. When will United fans come to realization where we are in reality, then stop living in Fergie era? Do we want it back? Yes, but are people ever going to have patience to have it back with any
Any manager.
manager? Hmm.
Hey, I have a story when it comes to this.
Oh, please.
I will tell you a story. In 1992-93, in the beginning of the season, Alex Ferguson was the manager. We lost the two first game of the season. The third game week we played against Ipswich. We drew the game. So after 3 rounds, we had 1 point and we were second to last on the table.
Wow.
The fourth game we played against Southampton again. Dion Dublin scored in the 89th minute and we won the game 1-0. After that, the rest is history. We won the league that year. So people got to remember it's early days. Things can turn around. And, you know, if it was today, let's say 92, 93 was today, people would have been shouting for Alex Ferguson's head. I'm not saying Ten Hag is Alex Ferguson, but you got to keep the history in mind and don't panic just because we have lost 2 games in the first 3.
Where's my air horn? Incredible story time with Jarvis. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button for that. If you're not gonna get any better story than that, honestly. Shout out to Jarvis for that, for real. Next question, Ronald against, and is this the same question? It is the same question, right? Yep. It came twice. And last question from Ronald. Why is there so much love for Sancho in United still? It's like a friend getting divorced and the guy's friends who see their friend get beaten up by the wife is asking the guy not to get a divorce. Weirdos. Wow.
So many levels on that question. I don't know where to answer. Big up Ronald.
Yeah, big shout out to Ronald. I was actually not aware that Sancho FC still exists at Man United. I honestly feel like there is obviously a portion, a small subset of the fan base that, you know, really likes wanted Jadon Sancho, because you remember he was a player that we wanted for like about 3 seasons before, 3 transfer windows before we got him. The rumors had started like a long time ago. So those people are still like vexed that they feel like, well, you know, had we had a different manager other than Eric Ten Hag, maybe Sancho would have worked, you know. But I think, honestly speaking, it's like, you know, time for the Sancho FC brigade to just go migrate to Stamford Bridge, because we are all about Manchester United now over everything. We do not support the players, and especially players that go on and to give like support on social media to clubs that are not us. He definitely did not have enough mental strength to succeed at Man United, and he just kissed a Dortmund badge in our faces. So honestly speaking, no love for Sancho. Just good riddance, and good riddance to Sancho FC.
Bye.
You know, yeah, that's all it is. It's like I don't wish him any evil, but it's just goodbye. You're not part of our club anymore. So I really hope that some fans, the Sancho FC brigade, just dies out. Yeah, guys, we have reached the conclusion of the Q&A section.
2 hours. We made it in 2 hours.
We made it in 2 hours. Jarvis, let me you know, pull over and give you the steering wheel. There you go. You know, yeah.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
Oh, you know when you switch with somebody and nobody leaves the like one like yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Wayne's World.
Yes.
Well, great show. Thank you, Poppy, for coming on. Last man standing. Tom disappeared. Stu disappeared. Just you and me. two amigos, not the three amigos. But yeah, it is what it is. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Stu, the man Shikusener coming in with a lot of comments, and I would say big up to the VAR room. Mr. B, Blitz Extreme 9P99, Mark N comes in, Brendan Chappell always with great comments, sensible comments. I like you, Brendan. Who else do we have? Jale Malmin, my Norwegian fellow coming in. Is in the southwest of Norway. It's raining like hell. It's not that in the northern parts. It's beautiful. So I'm not feeling the rain, Jale. Who else do we have here? Jamie Wayne, our moderator, as always, loyal moderator for, I would say, 2 years now. Big up, Jamie. I appreciate all the job you do moderating the chat. Trevor Wade with all his great comments. You know, I've been crying. You cracked me up today with your comments. And well.
And Will Man United as well. Big up Ilso Shea, Arsenal, Joe Blackman, you know.
Elite Baller.
Elite Baller. Shout out to Elite Baller. Yep.
Big up. And if you haven't followed Elite Baller, he has great content. You know, he's a good YouTuber. So my recommendation, Jarvis recommends Elite Baller. But that's it. That's the end of the show. 2 hours, 5 minutes. Gordon. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you. Next week, we will be back and we can actually talk about football, a game. Southampton is coming up. It will be a win or die game, and we have to win that game. We have to turn it around. So we will be back with more content on that game later this week. Mick will also be back. He's back from holiday. He's been in Bali for 10 days. He needed a little break, but now he's back, ready, refueled, refreshed, ready to go.
And he's actually not been feeling well, so you know, send some recovery prayers and thoughts and wishes.
No heart to Mick in the chat. So thank you everybody for joining us. Any last words before we end the show, Puppy?
No, shout out to everybody, Randy as well. Shout out to Trevor, as you mentioned, and most importantly, shout out to you for being here right now and hitting the like button. Kindly hit subscribe. Go, if you're on Football Power Hour, go to MUFC Realist TV, hit a like there, and do the same as well. If you're on MUFC Realist TV, go to Football Power Hour. And yeah, just like that is the end of the corner. And
I would say my famous last words. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.